Welcome back to Think Design Work Smart. I'm Alex Bolboaca and I'm coming at you from the Mozaic Works studios. And what I have today for you today is a little bit different because today it's kind of hard for me to focus on software development. I was talking last week about some challenges that we are facing in Romania, and we'll have on Sunday the second tour of presidential elections. And depending on the result, it's possible that all chaos will break loose starting next week. We'll probably know on Monday. So it's a little hard to focus on software development, but still, there's one thing that I'd like to say. And one problem that I haven't discussed, I feel, enough in the videos that I made until now is the ethics of programming, the ethics of programmers. Here's what happened. So Romania, we know now after some, there was some secure documents that were published. And it turns out that Romania has been heavily influenced with a very strong social media campaign meant to promote one of the candidates, the backwards candidate, pretty much like you would promote a product. It was a very well organized campaign. It will probably be in manuals for marketing, for promotions and things. It's been incredibly well organized and structured. It took place over a number of years, starting first innocuously with various groups focused on various activities and passing certain messages on social media, then identifying people who become volunteers for the campaign or ambassadors for the product, as you would call them. And then add some more messages meant to change the vision of people who are undecided. And then this all happened in small groups, but then very close to elections, all these groups came together. They changed their names, they became groups for elections. And because of that, we had the performance of having this guy, Călin Georgescu, who is a candidate in Romanian elections. He was in top 5 on TikTok trending in the world. So I repeat that. He overcame Mr. Beast on TikTok, if you can imagine that. So this is a campaign that will be in the manuals. But I cannot shake the fact that all this campaign was organized. Okay, it was done by people. But the tools that they used were software tools. They used social media, like TikTok, Facebook. They used CRMs, and they used data management platforms that were able to pass these kinds of messages and kind of automate a lot of the work or measuring the feeling of people and so on. And this is something that I feel is important to understand for any programmer. We often see software as a tool. And we programmers, we like to solve problems. If somebody comes to us with a problem, okay, we'll solve it. But there is one thing that we need to understand. And I feel that we haven't yet grasped this. Just because we can solve a problem, it doesn't mean we should. And this thing is getting even worse because this is just a preview for what will happen with Gen AI, right? These are tools that can be weaponized. These are tools that can be used in ways that are not very helpful. So here's an idea. Maybe product managers, software architects, senior developers should consider the possible inappropriate uses of the tools they are building before building them, before building a features. Have a meeting, figure out, can this be misused? Can this be exploited? And there's another idea, because this one, I know it might sound naive, right? Why would a company whose money depend on building an audience and building interactions with the platform actively think about how to limit those interactions? Yeah, it's a difficult problem. And this is particularly a problem in a system that is completely focused on the next big gain. US tech startups in particular have worked for many years in a way that sounds like if you break something, okay, we apologize and move on. This has been basically what Facebook has been doing again and again and again. And you can't argue with the advantages of this approach in terms of money. It brought copious money for companies, for their managers, for their investors, and for some of their employees, if not more, many of their employees. And that's true. So the incentives are not aligned across these lines. Okay. And one way to deal with that is, of course, regulation. Governments come with rules of what you can do and cannot do, stuff like that. And okay. But my interest also lies in the other side of the coin, which is programmers. So I wish programmers could come together and define a code of ethics. There are examples already. Lawyers have code of ethics, doctors have code of ethics. Our jobs have come to the point where we can influence people's lives. Maybe not all software, right? But some of it, definitely. So having this code of ethics would definitely be something important. Just because we can do something, it doesn't mean we should. And sometimes we should be able to tell our managers, we cannot do this because our code of ethics for my profession prevents me from doing that. And I have an association that backs me. And in case I'm not following this code of ethics, I am facing admonition or, exclusion and so on. Now, honestly, I don't have a lot of hopes for this to have happened, to happen soon. And there's also a question of, would this have helped this current situation? There are obviously unintended consequences in any complex system. And when we come and use, and create mass social networks, there are bound to be consequences that are unexpected. So there's this thing to take into account. it's not obvious that you can prevent everything while building this. But having this little bit of break, little bit of second thought, where you stop and say, is this ethical? Should we do this? I think at least might solve some of these challenges. Not all of them. I don't think all of them. I think it's a much more complex problem. But this is where, my tribe programmers, I think we can do better. Right, so this is what I wanted to tell you today. I don't know what will happen. The results are really close right now, and it's very difficult to trust any polls because many people don't answer the polls. So we'll only know after the count, which is probably going to be Monday or maybe Tuesday. If this guy wins the elections, all chaos will break loose. No matter what happens next, there are still some legal hurdles. He might not become the president, but it's still a problem of the signal that you send and everything that, the economy will probably go bad really quickly. There will be a lot of chaos. So that's it from now. I'm hoping for the best. Send us good thoughts, and I'll definitely do another video. But if we get into very chaotic times, we'll have to see if we can keep the schedule for these videos. But I will let you know if whatever happens. Thank you kindly for the view. And until next time, remember to think, design, and work smart. Definitely we'll see you next week.